Let's go.
Now, obviously, we always talk about the NFL. We bring you the best your Florida teams, whether it's the Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars, or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this week, we're finally going to get ahead and starting off with the NCAA special, our Florida college teams. Of course, we're going to bring you the best always with FSU, UF, Miami, and UCF. We're excited about the season coming up. Well, because it's coming up a little bit before the NFL season, so it's giving you a little taste of football before the professionals come in. But let's go ahead and start it up here with, of course, the University of Florida. Now, Chris, the University of Florida, 8-5 last year, 4-4 in the conference. Now, you have to look at the disappointing season they had, really the disappointing seasons they've been having. Do they actually have any shot of winning in the most difficult division in football?
Yeah, that's a great question, Johnny Cinco. Florida Man Sports. We are streaming on all major platforms. So always want to remind you to please like, share, subscribe. Still trying to get to that 100 number on Facebook so that we can stream live there as well. And Johnny, anything is possible, man. We got 71 days until kickoff, 71 days until the NCAA is back.
So you tell me they have a legit shot
And
to go ahead and win the
no,
SEC?
listen, it's a great question, right? We're talking about our Gators here, and anything is possible, right? Now, let's just start on paper because that's
You bring out your
I,
Kevin Garnett
I
impression?
I always want to start on paper, right? You got DJ Lagway coming back. I'm excited about the sophomore year. I'm excited about the fact that this guy passes the eye test. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago now, so definitely excited about that. You've got Jaden Bow, Jacoby Jackson, the running back duo. Both of them had 7 touchdowns apiece each last season. I dare you to name in the ACC. I dare you to name another duo of running backs that's better in the SEC for that matter too, and the Big 12, all that. So for me, I'm excited about that. The tackle position, Johnny Cinco, 4 out of the 5 guys are returning from last year. All of them, all 5 are Gators. You've got 9 people deep on the offensive line.
I get it.
And I'll leave a bow on this. At wide receiver, I'm excited about Dallas Wilson, the rookie, the freshman, excuse me. I'm excited about Eugene Wilson being healthy. And to put a bow on it, we've got J. Michael Sturdivant out of UCLA, who's going to have a breakout year after the portal transfer. So, yes, on paper, I'm excited about what they're doing this
But
year.
how can you be excited about on paper? This is essentially the same
I'll get to that.
squad.
I'll get to that. I want to get your take, and then
This
I'll go there.
You're bringing back a team that went 8-5 last year. So they went 8-5, and I get it. Listen, Lagway starting QB, he can throw it like the best. I mean, he has a great deep ball. The receiver room I'm excited about. Of course, you have the true freshman Dallas Wilson. You know, you said Stardivin and Brown and Montgomery. Now, there's a lot of talk around this great receiver room. The problem for me has always been is that I don't have any faith in Napier. You know, Napier is not the guy to lead this team. So we've seen everything we need to see from this guy. So why do you think after with this team, essentially the same squad, of course, a couple changes here, the transfers you mentioned here,
Hold
but
on.
still, you're going to go ahead and you're going to go and say, oh, they're somehow going to go ahead and just dominate. Let's take a look at
Okay.
the
Okay. I didn't say that. I said that on paper they look good. And how
that, but they
and how
don't.
and how dare you? Because this is actually Billy Napier's best roster. Again, going back to on paper
This
that he
is
has had over the last 4 years. So this is actually the time to your no
okay.
no no listen to your
Okay,
point. This is the
sure.
time to prove it, to show us what you can do. And so here's the name of the game. Now let's look at the schedule. At the end of the day, the name of the game is this: can you win 10 games? We don't got to go game by game, but on paper, can you win 10 games? And my answer, Johnny, my answer is no.
So
I don't. I
why
don't see.
did
I don't see
you,
them.
why did you sit here and stroke
Okay,
my
because
ego and sit here
because
or the any Florida fans and be like hype up like there's a
because
possibility?
because this is Florida Man Sports, and I'm always going
No,
to
it's
give you
just,
the perspective of the Florida
no,
man,
you gotta keep it
and and
real.
and and, and keeping it real. I'm excited for
Nah.
this year. I'm excited for the 4th year. I'm excited to see what we're going to do with this offense. One last thing I'll say about the team, Johnny. The portal now, it's a big thing with the nil deals going left and right. We only had 7 transfers. Now that can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? It's a testament that we are deep. We have a deep team. And so we don't need that many people. I could make that argument for you. But again, when you look at the schedule, I don't see 10 wins. And because I don't see 10 wins, I answer your question. I don't see us being able to make a playoff run, a deep
No.
playoff
So
run at that.
you went all the way around just to come to the same
Hey,
conclusion that
I'm gonna give you
no,
both
they
sides.
can't win the
I'm gonna give you both
SEC.
sides.
They can't win the SEC. Are you kidding me? Like no. They start the season off with this, with this LIU. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. You of course you're gonna win that. They're not gonna go ahead and beat Miami. They're not gonna go ahead
Well,
and
well, just real quick, right? You got LIU, you got South Florida the first 2 games, but then to your point, you're on the road for LSU and you're on the road for Miami.
yeah.
So in those 4 games, if you can finish 3-1, If you can finish 3-1 the first 4 games,
Are
maybe
you
you have a shot.
have you lost your mind?
I
No,
just
they're
said
not
maybe.
gonna.
I just said
No,
maybe. I didn't say we
and then
will.
and then after that they got Texas. Oh, and Gainesville, but still they're losing that. A&M in
And
College
Georgia and
Station.
Georgia. Yeah.
Mississippi State. They got Georgia.
Yeah.
They're playing in a neutral. They're playing in Jacksonville, so they're not. So still they're losing that anyway. Kentucky, they're gonna lose at Ole Miss. They got Tennessee, and of course they're gonna go ahead and go into Florida State. Now Florida State. They stomped on last year, so they did beat
So
Florida State
so I'm
last year.
saying I'm saying no, that they're not gonna get in the game. Not this year, coming up anyway. How many wins do you have
I have
overall?
them the same 8 wins.
Yeah,
I have them
yeah.
eight
We're on the
wins.
same page. Hey, we're on the
So
same page.
so I'm like, but you're over here like Napier's not going to survive this year.
Listen, 71 days out. This is Florida college football. You get excited about your teams. You got a clean slate. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. That's all I'm saying.
Anything's possible except an SEC championship coming to the University of Florida. Moving on to the arrival, of course, the ACC, the FSU, Florida State University, is coming off an abysmal 2-10 record. They haven't been that bad since they were an all-girls school back in the day. Now, will FSU bounce back and actually compete in the ACC, Chris?
Yeah, Florida Man Sports Stream on all major platforms. This is the NCAA football special. Well, I'll answer a question with a question. Nah, I'm just kidding. Look, at the end of the day, last year we were ranked 9. We were ranked 9. This year we're ranked 39. So when you talk about bounce back, I guess I will have a question for you here. Is what do you consider a bounce back when you only won 2 games? So in other words, if you win 4 games this year, is that a bounce back for you? What is a bounce back? And then I'll go into what I think is going to happen.
Well, I think we can both agree that there's no way they're going to have a worse season this year than they did last. But this is still the Florida State University Seminoles. This is still a team that people expect. As much as I've always enjoyed the rivalry between University of Miami and FSU, you still expect FSU to compete. That means being in the top 25. You are ranked. You're going to play in a bowl game somewhere here. 2-10 is not what anyone, even the haters of the FSU Seminoles, expected. So a bounce back for me is just that. It's going to go ahead. You're going to be bowl eligible. It's like, are you going to go ahead and be bowl eligible? You're going to be 500. You're going to go ahead and I mean, I'm letting you answer before I get into it. But what do you expect from FSU?
I expect 4 to 5 wins, but it's really going to come down to
4 to 5. Man,
yeah.
you really stomped
Yeah,
on that.
well,
Right?
it comes down to Tommy Castellano. This is Florida Man Sports, right? It's going to come to him, the kid out of Boston College. You got to go back 2 years before he had, I think, was it 2,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing. But the kid's 5'8", 5'9", right? As far as height, I'm not sold on the fact that he's going to come in and all of a sudden make us a playoff contender, right, or a team that's winning multiple games. So no, what I would have liked, Johnny, is Brock Glenn. Last year he played 5 games.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen the 6'3", homegrown quarterback, if you will, take the next steps during the offseason to be the starter. But that's the way the portal works. In comes Tommy Castellano, and so everything really relies on him and everybody else that we brought in.
They didn't play him for a reason. College football, they're purely, they don't care. Your egos check. The best player is going to play. NFL, you get caught up with contracts, certain things in place, and sometimes you have a delay in that. Not in college. The kid didn't play because he wasn't the best quarterback. That's why they went and picked up this kid from Boston College. The kid is a good quarterback, knows the ACC, obviously playing in the same division. So, no, I expect a better season. You can't have a worse season, but for you to sit here and say essentially double their victories, no. I have them going 8-4 this year, same as the Gators.
That's terrible.
They can actually
that is
they
terrible.
can actually shock some people and
That's
go nuts
terrible.
and switch it up and have as good as 10-2. They can go really nuts on this. But I have them at 8-4. There's certain games on here I don't see them. I give them props who start the season against the University of Alabama. They're not playing around. They're not taking any, these little fluff games that most teams go in and pick up. So FSU, while, I mean, the thing is that you can sit here and say this, but the year before, what happened? Not last year, it was 2-10, and nobody saw coming. The year before, they were angry that they weren't playing in the college football championship. They lost 1 game.
Yeah, they were 13-1. Yeah, it
how
doesn't matter,
could you
though.
go
That
ahead
doesn't
and
matter.
do that? They go 13-1. They go 2-10. And for you to sit here and say, there's no way. No, they can go 10-2. They can flip the script and go 10-2. I have them at 8-4 because there's too many unknowns. But I would not be surprised if FSU goes 10-2. But 8-4 for me, Chris.
Listen, at the end of the day, we can say whatever we want to say. When it comes down to it, you look at the the coach at themselves, and you look at what they do when it comes to the transfer portal. And yes, we got people, but we also lost people, and everybody knows that in Florida State. So I don't want to, there's no advantage that we got there. There's nothing to smile about at the running back position. There's nobody that's getting drafted in the NFL next year. And at the end of the day, you still got a guy who's just it's going to be his first year now from Boston College. Just has to prove that a 5'9" quarterback, 5'8" quarterback can lead a team to what you're saying is what, 8 wins. I'm sorry, I don't see it happening. But prove me wrong. This is Florida Man Sports. I love the Seminoles. Prove me wrong, because I would love to see that.
The fact that you see the University of Florida like doing so much better than FSU is strange to me.
How? What happened last year? What are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? Come on, man.
What went wrong last year is the fact that they had a 40% roster turnaround. So that 17 transfers went out, were coming in, and 27 went out. That's a problem. So when you have that many going out, not as many coming in, and this is going to happen to a lot of schools because the NIL, while it has greatly improved certain teams, if you can just a couple of spots here and there, FSU they weren't recruiting the way they needed to recruit. They were buying players.
Yeah.
So they did it, and I get it. You have that market, FSU, UF, Miami. In Florida, you can go ahead and really take advantage of that NIL. Much more than a team like UCF.
When the biggest thing that I'm excited about, and again, Seminole fans know exactly what I'm talking about here. The biggest thing I'm excited about is our tight end sophomore Landon Thomas, just to have the better season than he did last year, taking the next steps. And when I'm excited about a true sophomore tight end, to me that is a problem for the team in general. Now, here's maybe something that we can agree with. See if you agree with me on this. Mike Norvell, did I say right, Norvell?
Okay.
If
he's so terrible, it doesn't matter.
If I'm right and you're wrong, which happens a lot, and he wins, let's say 6 games or less, does he get another year? That's the real question. I say no. What do you say?
No.
Okay.
Listen,
that's the real question here.
You can't coach one of the premier teams in the state of Florida and come away with multiple seasons with 6 wins. If your first year coming in as a turnaround, you may survive that. But that's not how it works here. We take our college football serious in the state of Florida.
He's basically at 50%, right, as far as wins and losses.
It's not going to work. I don't think if he doesn't if you don't turn it around, you're going to be gone. And it always surprises me, Chris, that you see these teams, and we saw what happened with North Carolina. And I always bring it back to Bill Belichick. And you always kind of look at something like that into where you have the greatest football coach of all time.
It took 12 minutes for him to bring up Bill Belichick. 12 minutes.
And
you guys are watching.
And I know that there have to have been some kind of whispers once, obviously, every NFL team, a bunch of fools, they went ahead and passed on him. So then he's searching in college, and obviously he's flirting with North Carolina. I know there had to have been whispers, other teams. How does a team like University of Florida or FSU not go ahead and put in a legitimate offer for the greatest professional football coach of all time? So I don't understand that.
Could have, would have, should have. Doesn't matter.
So we'll see.
It doesn't matter. It's Florida Man Sports.
I mean, of course. So it is interesting to me. But moving on to our next team, of course, the University of Miami. They were 10-3 last year, missing on the playoffs by 1 game. The biggest change here, obviously, is, of course, number 1 overall pick Cam Ward goes ahead and gets drafted, goes to the NFL. And they bring in Beck from the University of Georgia. Now, the crazy thing on this kid is that this kid was going to go to the NFL. He was going in the draft. He was going to be there, projected, possibly first rounder, more than likely like a third rounder, somewhere in there. But the way they're drafting, they're going. But he goes ahead, takes up a big chunk of change, and comes to the University of Miami. So will Beck have same success? Will he have more success or less success than Cam Ward did?
Well, it's a 2-part question, right? Florida Man Sports, Western all major platforms. The first part, Johnny Cinco, is that the rich get richer, right? You go from Cam Ward to a guy who, like you said, and you said it best, he was at one point going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, according to some scouts. So the rich get richer in Carson Beck. But the real question, Johnny Cinco, is he went under, elbow surgery on December 23rd. So the real question and answer here is going to be is how does he look after that? And can he build and have the season that he wants to have? Because he chose to do this, right? To have the season that he wants to have before he enters the NFL draft his way. So I guess it's really going to depend on that, Johnny. It's going to depend on how he healed, how he looks, and can he produce at an elite level after the surgery. So that's really what the storyline is here. You got to give, and I give all kudos here to Mario Cristobal, the coach, because ultimately the guy knows how to pick them, man. He knows how to get them in the when it comes to the portal. He's had another elite summer with that. So to me, it all comes down to Carson Beck, the injury, and can he come back 100%?
I ain't giving it to Mario. I'm giving it to the boosters because I know it's undone. The NIL deals, you can want the player all you want when you mess around with the
No, of
transfer
course,
portal.
of course,
You need the bucks.
right.
And I think
That's a good point.
reported
Yeah.
$4 million. This kid was getting paid more than he would this year if he was one in the NFL.
By the nil, yeah, it was
So
like $4 million swing. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so I ain't mad at him. I'm at Miami. They're taking advantage of the NIL. This is the advantage that a school like University of Miami has over a school like we're going to talk to next, of University of Central Florida. They have that advantage. So why not take advantage of it? Cam Ward, I get it. Number one overall pick. I'm not as high on Cam Ward as you were. I saw a lot of Cam Ward last year. The dude does crumble under pressure. A lot of people don't look at that. They see that he's an athlete, has a rocket arm, and he does. But Beck has played his entire college career in the SEC. His numbers were outstanding last year, even with a little bit of the little injuries, the elbow issue he was having. I'm not concerned about the elbow injury because when it's all said and done, I'm more concerned about shoulder issues or things like that.
You think he's gonna be just fine?
He's going to do it just fine. Last year, what did he have? 28 touchdowns, 3,500 yards passing. The dude is a beast. No pun intended. The dude's a dog. His completion percentage did go down a little bit.
Well,
Normally, it's like
that's what he wants to fix, right? That's he wants to come in. I think what was it last year? He had 12 interceptions. That
yeah,
was like third, tied for third. I think it was for
yeah,
all.
28
Yeah,
touchdowns, 12. He threw
yeah.
for 65% complete percentage, but the 2 years before that, he was in the mid 70s. So I expect him back to form. I expect the University of Miami. I mean, what do you expect
Well,
from UM?
that was going to be the next thing, right?
Oh,
So then,
I'm ready.
we look at the schedule. One thing, and you can talk a little bit more about this, Johnny. To me, the schedule looks like a very favorable schedule. So when you're talking about a team from Florida that has a chance, this to me is like the best chance when you look at the schedule. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but that's what I see, right? When I look at the schedule. But even so, I don't see enough to get to the playoffs. I don't see it. I don't see that.
Have you lost your mind? You're trying to tell me that University of Miami are not going to make the college football playoffs? That's what you're telling me right now?
Well, I'm saying when you look at the strength of schedule and the way that it's ranked, I would make
Okay,
that assessment.
one.
Are you going to scare anybody? Are you?
There are three games
Yeah.
that
Are you going to?
concern me. Three games that concern me.
Okay. Go
Look
ahead.
here. Of course, you're starting it off with Notre Dame. So Notre Dame, that is still concerning. What I do like is they're playing at home. So you got Notre Dame, but they're playing at home. Of course, Florida State. Florida State, they're playing in Tallahassee. So when you're looking at that, now Miami's a better team than Florida State, but that's still a rivalry. Those are still upsets that can happen. And I'll feel so much more comfortable. I've been to plenty of University of Miami FSU games. Luckily, the most of the games I went to, Miami has won. But those games where they lose or they come close are always tough in Tallahassee. That game concerns me. And of course, Syracuse. Now, Syracuse is the game they should beat Syracuse easily. The reason they didn't make the college football playoffs last year is because they lost to Syracuse at Syracuse. This is a game they should have handled, and they didn't. Cam Ward was not the Cam Ward we expected.
Does USF scare you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That's
Does NC State scare you?
no.
Okay, well then that's called the strength of schedule, folks.
No.
And so the question that he's asking, the question that you're asking, which is a loaded question, um, which is a loaded question. Sorry, I'm looking reading the comments.
Yes.
It's such a loaded question. At the end of the day, the strength of the schedule is not there for me, and so there's nothing there that scares me when I go, man, that's a tough schedule. No, I don't
Okay.
see that.
What Chris forgets is that if you win your conference, you are automatically in the college football
But
playoffs.
It's a, no,
So
it's not. It's
the,
not just Johnny.
the
Johnny.
ACC.
It's not just that.
ACC is right there for Miami. It's right there for Miami. So they win this here, even if they lose a game. Honestly, for me, I really think the University of Miami can go undefeated this year. They can go. I'm
I
concerned
love
about.
that we're doing this live. I love that we're
I
recording
am
this.
concerned about those three games. Those three games. But because they're playing Syracuse at home this time, not where they lost last year in New York. Because obviously Notre Dame, tough game. The first game of the season at home. So if this is later on the season, if this was in Indiana, those are things that concern me. But no, this is at home against Notre Dame. And of course, FSU, they're playing in Tallahassee, but they're a better team than FSU. So those three games concern me, but we honestly have the chance to run the table here and go undefeated. But
We
worst
have the
case
chance to run the
scenario,
table and go undefeated. Florida Man Sports. Remember this show, folks.
worst case scenario,
June 20th.
three losses. Now, three losses didn't get us into the college football playoffs last year, but that's the worst case scenario. I don't know what's going to happen with the ACC. We win the ACC, then we're in. So Miami, high hopes for Miami, I think will be the best college football team in the state of
I will
Florida.
take a wait and see approach, and I'm going to see how we do at quarterback. Make sure that he's nice and healthy. But no, I don't see it happening this year.
I think so here, Chris. Moving on to our final Florida team here, the University of Central Florida.
The best team.
Now, the University of Central Florida last year, the best team went 4-8. Now, but happy days ahead for the UCF, Chris. Now
I
that
don't know,
Frost is
man.
back. Now, can this guy recapture the glory that he brought to this school? And how do you see UCF finishing the 2025 season?
Jefferson moved on in effect of last year. Johnny Cinco. They're guessing right now. We're looking at Ja'Cory Brown as being the starter for the season. Again, that could very well change, but we're starting with Ja'Cory Brown, which 6'4". You're excited to see what I think it's going to be his fourth year now. What he can do, this coming season. At the end of the day, though, there's nothing to be excited about with UCF. Not yet, anyways. I mean, what do we want to celebrate? The fact that Frost is back.
Frost is back. Milton's on the staff.
We've
There's a lot of things.
there's nothing for me to go.
It's a change of culture, bro. At the end of the day, what UCF, I'm happy to see.
Hold on. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, the glory days of UCF were what? We went undefeated. Now, UCF puts on their stadium that they won the championship. They're the national championship.
Nah,
now, I'm not hating on them. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, that year, their argument was that they got one vote as the national champions because they're the only team that was undefeated. They had a great bowl game against Auburn. They freaking stomped on them. They did a great game. This is a great team. So that is their heyday. This guy was the guy that led this team to the most prominent season in UCF history and the most success over his tenure there. Now, the issue that was changed, the big change, Chris, which concerns me, is that this is before NIL. So Frost recruited great, was an outstanding coach, but he has to go ahead and compete with the NIL now. And now, the bigger markets, like FSU, like, Miami, like UF, they can go ahead and still pay players a lot more. The market's bigger than it is here in Central Florida. So do I think he can go ahead and recapture? I think he can. Not year one.
I'm just not sold. And the reason why I'm kind of like, I guess, hold your emotions on UCF is because you're talking about 2 years, Johnny. And in those 2 years, you're talking about 6 and 7. And then that run that he went in 13-0 when they thought they won a championship. So there's nothing for me to, I'm not, just because Frost is back and you said it at the very beginning, it's going to take time. You're changing a culture. Culture takes time. So there's nothing for me to be excited about with UCF right now.
How can you not be excited?
When you lose 11 players from last year, right? Your team is worse on paper. We're talking about paper at the beginning of this thing, right? Well, it's worse on paper, and now he's coming in. So, yes, I'm happy that Frost is there. Can he do it again? Let's see. But it was only for one season. I mean, I guess if he had success, right, like for 4 or 5 years, and now he comes back to UCF, then that would have been like, yes, I admire that.
Yes.
But technically, to me, and please comment if you disagree, but to me, you're a one-hit wonder. You had a hell of a year that 1 year, and we're just clinging on to that fact that you had that great year. That's not good enough for me.
Well, that year was outstanding. It wasn't.
It's not good enough for me.
It wasn't a good year. It was a great year. And at the end of the day, we would have seen more from Frost here in Central Florida.
Yeah.
The reason we didn't is why? Because obviously he left because he got an offer. Like anybody's gonna go and take that offer.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Nebraska didn't work out over there,
Right.
but still.
Exactly. But that's not
nobody
still.
can recruit
Stop with
Nebraska.
stop with the still. That's a big deal, right? That's a big deal. He went somewhere else and didn't have success. Now he's back, and you all of a sudden want me to drink the Kool-Aid. All I'm saying is I'll wait and see. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, everybody's talking about wait and see. I just finished telling you that Frost, I'm not really gonna put too much weight on year one. Like this isn't his recruiting class, so you had to wait and see after a couple of years what he can do. He's up against a juggernaut, a buzzsaw in the NIL because UCF doesn't have the money that these other schools have to spend. So while I am still, my God, Chris, I can still be excited about the fact that Frost is back. That we have former players on the staff. That still it's something to where like let's go ahead and it's you were 4-8 last year.
Mm-hmm.
You would not finish well in the Big 12, which isn't the most difficult conference. You lost games that you should have won. So this year, while I'm not saying something's gonna be
RJ Harvey became a Bronco. We lost Lee Hunter to Texas Tech.
Of course.
I mean, come on. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, folks, but I'm just giving it to you for real. Like this is Florida Man Sports.
Still, I know we're the 70th ranked recruiting class, so it's not something to brag about. But still, I have confidence in Frost and what he's going to do. Year one, let's just relax a little bit. I have us going 6-7 this year.
Let's draw the line so that you and I are on the same page. I'm saying that none of our teams in Florida, unfortunately, this year are gonna make the playoffs. You're saying that you're
That's
saying
not what I'm saying.
no. I'm drawing the line. I said I'm saying that, and you're saying that.
I'm saying that the University of Miami have the chance to run the table. There are three games that only concern me. Now they're going to lose all three of those. I hope not. But still, even with a two-loss season, they can still make the college football playoff. And I talked about the FSU Seminoles. That for FSU, I'm like I have them with 8 wins, but there's a couple games in there that I'm like, you know what? They just may pull it out. So they may flip the switch and go from 2-10 to 10-2.
Oh
Still,
Lord.
like I said, I have them at 8 wins.
Oh
But
Lord.
so FSU and Miami have a shot. They have a shot.
And not the Florida Gators.
Florida Gators do
Wow.
not have a shot because
Wow.
Napier's trash. He needs to go. You're done. I've seen everything I needed to say from you. I'm sorry. The Gators have no shot. Great at basketball. It's just the football. You have the wrong coach. You made a mistake by not hiring Belichick. That's on you.
Salty. Bill Belichick. Salty.
I'm
Good
not.
Lord.
I'm not wrong. But anyway, Chris, I know we always focus on college football, and I hope you guys enjoyed it here. But I have to ask you now that yeah, I think on Sunday. Today's Friday, of course. We're recording Sunday. Who do you got? OKC, or do you got your favorite team from the East? There?
Listen,
No.
OKC.
It's not the Magic.
OKC does not deserve to win a championship. I don't care
They,
what nobody
they
says.
don't deserve to win
They
a
don't.
championship.
They don't deserve to win a championship.
Okay, I have to ask you.
Okay,
Who do you got
okay.
winning that game? Well, I know we focus on football here, but I have to ask you.
I know.
Who's winning that.
I'm rooting for the Indiana Pacers.
So
I'm happy. I'm happy they
who's
won.
winning it?
I'm happy they won Game 6. It looks like almost like the home team wins the game every time. Well, not every time, but you know what I mean.
Not
So,
accurate at all.
well, no, in the sense that that's why we got the 7 games is that Indiana won in Indiana and OKC won in OKC.
Split and split.
But that's all right. Take notes. With that being said, I'm gonna root for Indiana to win and pull off
Who
Game
is
7.
going to win?
I'm rooting for Indiana. Just told
I
you.
don't care who's rooting. So you're saying Indiana's going to win?
Yeah, listen, I don't betray a team that I'm rooting for. Okay, I don't. I'm
Okay.
not.
Okay,
I don't talk out of
okay,
both sides of my mouth, Johnny. So
OKC is going to win this game, so it's fine.
Oh,
OKC
yeah.
is going to win Game 7, and they're going to win the championship. Well deserved.
low,
So
low fruit
S-
picking the home team to win.
SGA is going to go ahead and wrap up his season MVP, Finals MVP, and a championship. Well done, SGA.
And that just gives room for the Orlando Magic to come back next year and show a young team winning another championship.
Of course, we saw that amazing trade they did, so I doubt it.
Let's go. You want to go there? You want to go there? 3 minutes left.
As much as I would love
We
to.
we can go. We
As
can
much
go. We
as
can go.
I would love
Listen.
to,
Listen.
man.
You want the
Listen,
smoke? I'll give you the smoke.
Florida Man Sports knows, or the fans of Florida Man Sports, people watching know how terrible that trade is. We don't need to get into that. It's fine.
I'm not going to let you stop and finish on that segment, the terrible trade. Go Orlando Magic. This is Florida Man Sports, LFG.
Go
We
Orlando
got the
Magic.
missing piece for the big 3 to run in Orlando.
Nobody
And at the
believes
end of the
that.
day, we gave away low draft picks, so it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Let's go. I'm not going to let them win. On that note, folks.
Nobody believes that,
On that note, folks.
except Chris.
As the season does roll along, we are going to have to throw in tidbits here and there. But
Sure.
so you're taking OKC, I'm taking Indiana, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and then you said just we're going on the record here, so we're same page. You are picking not University of Florida, excuse me. You're picking Miami to go to the playoffs,
Miami is going to the playoffs for sure.
and no other Florida team.
Possible effort.
No, not possible. No other
I
Florida
just
team.
finished saying it was very clear that I have them 8 wins, but they may pull out the okey doke and go from 2-10 to 10-2. It's possible.
I'm Christian. He's both sides Johnny.
Later.
We're out.